You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show today. My special guest is Marty Birky. Marty is an experienced family lawyer with over 8 years in the family and estate legal field, and he has represented clients in Alberta's Court of Queen's Bench and Provincial Court. With a Juris Doctor from the University of Calgary, he specialized in guiding individuals through a complex divorce proceedings with clarity, compassion, and strong advocacy. It's a great pleasure to have Marty on the show today. Welcome, Marty.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, Marty, I gave a brief overview of your success. Can you fit in the detail of what you do?
For sure. So I work in the always messy area of divorce as well as estate litigation. So I help families navigate really complex disputes in families, whether it's a divorce situation or if someone just passes and there's a dispute over the estate.
Awesome. So I'm always interested in learning about story behind. So was there any like definite moment or what initially drew you to that field and any defining moments that helped shape the path you're on today?
For sure. So I went to the University of Calgary for law school. And just like every other student at the University of Calgary, I wanted to do big firm, high level corporate work. That's that's what we all strive for. And then I actually got there, started to do the work, realized I did not like it at all.
Mm,
It was just not for me. I come from a very competitive background. I, played college basketball. I coached college basketball, so I found the solicitor side, this heavy paperwork, rather boring. And so I was looking to change the area I practiced in. So I kind of reached out to some of my colleagues, some of the senior lawyers that I've got to know over the years, and I actually connected with my current partner now, Andy Hayer. We had a connection. He was a volleyball coach. I was a basketball coach. So I did exactly what I advise a lot of young people to do is I went and I found someone senior and said, "What do you do?" And if it sounds like something I would like is to ask for some mentorship and say, "Well, how do I do that too?" So, after a few coffees, few lunches, I really found that family is probably something I would like. It's high paced. You're dealing with individuals. You're helping solve real problems. And then there's the litigation aspect where you're in court.
awesome. Awesome.
You're
Love it.
Yeah, you're in court. You're arguing. There tends to be a winner and a loser. So I thought I would try it out, and I actually really enjoyed it.
That is amazing because not everybody, the conflict that resolve is not something everybody wants to do it, right? So that is
Yes.
amazing. So as a family lawyer, working closely with the individuals, navigating divorce and legal conflicts, what differentiated you or approach to supporting your client through emotional charged situations?
Well, I actually found my previous career of being a college basketball coach really helped me um, really learn a lot of and gain experience of a lot of different people and their different experiences in their life. They come from all different areas and they have real world problems. I always laugh because when I would tell someone that I'm a college basketball coach, they would always say, "Oh, that's cool. Like you just few practices here and there and some games, that's awesome." When it's actually you have these young men that are early 20s that are have their life struggles, and some of them come from nothing, or they don't have any family support, and they're really trying to figure out where am I going to live and how am I going to pay for things and the issues that come along with 20-year-olds. So dealing with that, helping them get through their issues has really helped me. I always say I deal with crazy well. Um, so when people come to me either for a divorce or for an estate matter, I realize very early on that people don't call me when things are going well.
Mm-hmm.
You're truly dealing with individuals that are going through the worst time of their lives. And I have found true satisfaction helping them out of it, right? And most of the time, I mean, depending on it, they also don't choose to be in that situation, right? People don't get married with this intention that they're going to get divorced. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, while it is going to happen, none of us really want our parents to pass away and then have to deal with, poor estate plans and fighting with siblings and stepmoms and so it's really not something anyone would really sign up for. So
Mm-hmm.
I have found that based, with my experience, really trying to be the calm in the storm. I've had a lot of feedback from past clients that they found that my calm demeanor was really reassuring. And I found a certain way to clients need to feel heard,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but at the same time, I'm also not a therapist. I'm too expensive and I'm bad at it, right? So it's a bit of guiding them through that because if they don't feel heard, they're also not in a emotional place to hear you and receive legal advice and make these really, really life-altering decisions. So I think it comes with experience and not just in law school. It's like my life experiences in my own life. I grew up on a farm in Montana. So when I have an estate file and it's over a farm, I can kind of diffuse it and say, well, this is my parents' worst nightmare. So let me help you get out of it. And you just try to connect with them on a personal level. And I found that to be the most successful.
Wow. Love your story. I can see that there's a common now after listening to your story that it's same thing when you somebody some individual is going to do the divorce, but doesn't necessarily life stops around them. Still life is happening, right? And like you mentioned, there's so many different things to consider and a lot of stressful this is happening. And same thing with the playing a basketball that doesn't matter what you did with your family. Maybe you might have some argument before you left for your game, but once you at that game, you have to focus on you have to put everything behind and then you just gotta focus on what's really matter at this time. So and I think I really love that the lawyers coming in as listening and then like make sure that we are heard so that we are actually off guard and wanted to share more. I think that's when I think we are ready to listen to advice and especially from the expertise, right? Sometimes when you don't feel heard and we don't feel like you want to share anymore and then we are not ready to listen, I think. So that's amazing. So I love it. So what is one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome in your career so far?
It's a really good question.
Hmm.
I mean, every case comes with its sets of challenges, right? So, and then every career has its challenges, right? So I've moved firms. I've come to Hayer Lee and helped start it, and then join the partnership. So there's the there's the starting a business and helping it grow challenges. And then every case, there's clients, again, they're going through a horrendous time. So they're not always at their best. And then we have opposing counsel that, their job is to fight me. So I sometimes, I we're not the best of friends. I think I'm pretty good at leaving it at the office. That we'll just I always say it's kind of like when I was coaching. So a lot of coaches on the other teams are really good friends of mine. So when we're not coaching, really good friends. When those whistle blow, I'm going to take you down, right? So
That is really.
that's kind of how I treat the profession too. It's their job is to put up roadblocks and advocate for their client and not make my life easy, and my job's the same. But I do find that there's just different strategies when it comes to this kind of litigation.
Mm-hmm.
I like to try to take more. I always start with this because you'll get clients that they come to me because I do a lot of high conflict. So this is because all the courts and everyone, they try to push you to negotiate and mediate and try and resolve issues without going to court. And I always start in that aspect as well because whenever I get a new client, I always tell them I'm picturing a day in the
Mm-hmm.
future, and that day is everything's done, you don't need me anymore. And I always picture that day when I first meet a client, and I say I want on that day that they look back and say, I'm glad I went with Marty. He gave me practical advice. He helped me. He was the calm in the storm, and I'm going to tell the world that Marty is a great lawyer, and I think that's great for my career, and also I truly want to help people. So that is the I focus on, and I do find that it is better to give the practical advice because people come to me because they just don't know this process. They don't know what they should do. So that's why when I'm saying, all right, tell me what happened, it's like, whoa, like, so this happened, this happened, this happened. And I just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, so I try to get the information first, and then I kind of give them the floor to speak. Um, but yeah, I really try to focus on the practical advice. I never want to be that lawyer that says, pay me $50,000 in legal fees and I'll try and get you 20,000.
Oh yeah, that's
Right? I
not.
always want to say, like, there's a lot of times, and unfortunately, I have to say it, that we have a legal system and not a justice system. That what the client truly wants, there's they could get it, but to actually get there is going to cost them more than what they'll actually achieve. And it's one of the most defeating feelings for me and the client because
Mhm.
it's not right. It's not justice, but it's the system.
Yeah. Sounds like you're the how can I say that the bridge that reduce the gap between what they think they should deserve, like what they should receive it, and then actually what the legal system can offer, and also how much effort and the financial you have to put it in to get that result. So have to navigate through and then more it has to be practical and it has to be more realistic.
Well, yeah, and clients just don't know, right?
Yeah,
And I always say it's okay that you don't know. It's why I went to school forever, right? It's why I dedicated my life to this is so I do know and I can help them navigate this challenging world of litigation.
that's right.
And I
Yeah.
always, whenever I give advice, I picture that day in the future. That I'd say, okay, well, I gave them practical advice, and what would another thing I always say is, what would I advise like my father to do, someone I cared about? What advice would I give them? Because it's hard. Sometimes it's a flip the coin. Well, you could do this. Here are the pros and cons, or we could do this, and here's the pros and
Hmm.
cons. Or the client makes the choice. We just say, here's all the things, and then a lot of times they say, well, tell me what to do, and I was like, that's not my job. My job
Yeah.
is to give you the tools to make the decision.
Hmm. I don't know, from what you're saying, I could feel that you really care about your clients rather than I think sometimes you go in there and then you feel like a transaction is happening rather than so much really like giving value, really take care of it. I felt from you that you're those lawyers that really care about what's really happening with their lives.
I try to be. That's why I went into this. And again, some of my most rewarding files are not the ones that I collected the most money on. That's not how I measure it. I always say one of my most rewarding files was one of my first files, and that's I got this woman her child back after 2 years of litigation, and it was so rewarding, and I still think about it.
Oh, that is a beautiful story. So, what exciting plans and initiatives do you have coming up over the next 6 to 12 months?
So we have our National Family Law Conference in Kelowna in July. So I'm presenting with a lawyer out of Ontario, Karen Bales, and we're presenting on, we're calling it death and divorce. So because it's for family lawyers, so we're presenting on what some estate matters that impact family lawyers. So that's always fun. The family conferences are always fun. It's usually in a nice place. So there's the stress of presenting because there's always a million questions that I need to be ready for. But after that, we're gonna try and maybe get some golf in and enjoy and learn from my colleagues. There's a lot of other people presenting.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. Awesome. So, it sounds like your things are going really well for you and your business. Congratulations. Let's talk a little bit about your financial success. Many, the professionals and business entrepreneurs, they're earning strong incomes right now, but it often requires significant the investment of time and energy. So looking ahead, like a common goal would be like to maintain the same level of income and lifestyle while working maybe eventually less, and especially with the inflation at all-time high. So as a result, many people are exploring ways to generate income outside of their primary work, such as maybe investing in stocks and or cryptocurrency, precious metals, or real estate. What are your thoughts about income outside of work?
So I mean, I think we've all been down those social media rabbit holes, and am I doing enough with my investments? Should I have 5 side hustles? Should I? So my I give my wife whiplash with that. Should we buy this? Should we put our money here? Should we buy a business? And so I mean, I I really kind of changed my goal in there. I focus on my work. Um, I have to tell myself, stay in my lane. What am I good at? I worked so hard to get very good at this. So, if I need more money, I'll just work more hours. Um, just get a nice diversified portfolio. I've got some real estate, you know, s- got some in the stock market, and has got my investment portfolio. And my wife's a teacher, so she's working her tail off for sure she does middle school. So her life's more challenging than mine a lot of times. But we got two little ones, is 4 and 7, and they keep us busy. So I don't really have time for another side hustle of some kind. Um, this is kind of my whole financial world here.
Awesome, thank you. So, as a wrap it up, what advice would you offer to individuals going through separation or divorce who may feel, even, the estate conflicts, who may feel overwhelmed or uncertain about the future?
So I know this might sound self-serving, but get legal advice, right? So it's a terrifying time when it comes to information. I have so many new clients that are relying on AI, so ChatGPT, and I put this in here, and ChatGPT said the law says this, and there's actually a lot of developing cases right now where lawyers are getting in a lot of trouble for using AI, and because AI can create things, they can pull information from anywhere, so they've actually created um, cases, and lawyers have relied on them, and then the finds out later, and people are getting a lot of trouble. So I understand lawyers are expensive. I get it. But you can get a consult, you can get an idea. And I had so many clients that they just tried to do it without getting any legal advice. They went through AI. They tried to settle it just without lawyers. And while I'm all for trying to keep costs down, I would say most of the time when I get these clients, if they would have just received really good legal advice right away, they could have saved a lot of pain and money,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to, I would say divorce and estate, because there's also filing deadlines. And what people don't understand is if you don't file the proper claims or the proper stuff, you can get out of time.
Mm.
And I've had several come to me where they did get legal advice, but they went to a lawyer that doesn't specialize in that area, right? So they go, well, I went to the lawyer that helped me sell my house, and they said that, they kind of gave me some advice on this state, or they gave me advice on my divorce, and they don't actually really practice very much in it, and or they practice in 10 different areas. And I practice in two very close areas. There's a lot of crossover with families and estates. I would not even consider touching a criminal matter or a commercial real estate matter. I always say it's because my brother's an anesthesiologist, so I always try to do like a medical reference. It's like uh, a heart doctor saying, okay, I'm going to try brain surgery this weekend, right? It's just not, they're completely different parts of the body, completely different levels of expertise. So, yeah, I would say obtain legal advice with someone that specializes in that area.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell us a little bit more about like what common mistakes you see usually when it comes to estate conflicts? You mentioned, I think, briefly about like time is running out. Like, could you tell us a little bit more about that too?
Yeah, so there's a one I get a lot. It's when someone dies and they leave a will, and the will doesn't properly provide for family members. So we're talking like most of the time it's a spouse or an adult independent partner. It's an older will, and they didn't update their will, so their spouse or their adult independent partner is not in it. Um, so what happens is you can bring what's called an application for family maintenance and support to the Wills and Succession Act. But you have 6 months from the grant of probate to file that. And then there's Family Property Act. So you've got 2 years from date of separation to file a statement of claim for a division of family property. And I'm starting to get these files where that's just never happened. And then the other side can just say you're out of time.
So then what happened after the time is ran out?
So the court has the ability to just say you're out of time. You cannot bring an application. And
And
they've done that.
and after that, then what happened? So the
You
court
you're
gonna make a order, a judgment, or
they just dismiss your application and say you're out of time. You cannot bring this application. They order costs against you for trying,
okay.
and then you're barred from bringing any future applications for that. So an
Mm-hmm.
example of like say a family maintenance and support claim, if you're the surviving spouse and you don't file this and the court finds you're out of time, then you get nothing from the estate.
Oh, even though you're spouse.
Yeah.
But then the will doesn't say spouse there, or even though the will says the spouse there, but it wasn't updated. How the
So family maintenance and support is when the will doesn't adequately provide for you. So there's lots of scenarios where that's relevant.
mm,
But the example I just used is there's an older will that they made before they even met their spouse.
mm,
So now the spouse doesn't get anything in the will because they never updated it. So it leaves everything to their children. And this is unfortunately a common um, case that I get is there's a new spouse, right? It's a
mm,
stepmother or stepfather, and the will leaves everything to the biological children. And then when they pass away, now and it could be a spouse of 20 years, right?
mm-hmm.
And they've
Yeah.
left everything in the name of the deceased, and And if they were to separate, it wouldn't matter. But upon death, you have to bring this family maintenance support claim.
Oh, I see. I see.
And if you don't
So
bring it
that,
in a certain amount of time, then you
mhm.
can't bring it. So the result is you don't get anything.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. So then, if someone wasn't in the will included because they never had a chance to revise or update, and then there's a chance that you can appeal to include. But then, if you're run out of time, then you're not gonna able to get reviewed at all. You're not gonna have a chance to get reviewed.
Yeah, if the court decides you're out of time, then your application fails.
Right on. Okay. So let's just switch a little bit about, so when you mention like how would I give advice to my client if I was my father? I think that was a beautiful statement. So was there any like key insights or experience in your legal career or like how you grew up that shape how you guide clients toward like resilience and clarity during difficult transitions?
Sorry, just to understand the question. So you're saying, is there something like a moment in my life that helped guide that?
Yes.
I would say two main things. First of all, how I was raised. Yeah, I was raised on a farm in Montana. We had a generational farm. We had hard work, and that's where your word is your bond, right? Say I'm gonna do something, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna whatever you do, you're gonna put your best into it, and you take pride in what you do, and you care about your neighbor, and that that has been my core, and that was developed, from my parents, my grandparents, and my family, and I'm forever grateful to them. And then the second one would be sports, right? So I played sports since I could ever remember, and again, my parents helped me through that, your commitments and your work ethic and overcoming adversity. Um, and really, I guess when when you're pushed at a young age and you push through things and find success, it just builds confidence.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. So I can see that even the consistency and the discipline over, maybe excuses, okay, why I cannot do this and why I can do this. So that I can see that common there too. So Marty, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your great insights and inspiring story with us. Is there anything else would you like to share with us before you go?
I don't think so. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. So it was a real pleasure to have you on the show today, Marty. If people like to connect with you, how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website is hayerlee.com. My email is mbirky, so MBIRKY at hayherlee.com, HAYHER.com.
Awesome. So we truly appreciate your time and the perspective you brought us to the conversation. Thank you, Marty.
Thanks.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at truenorthsuccessshow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.